Before we begin, please make sure that your camera is on while your microphone is off, and your ID in the Zoom meeting is set in your full name and the media organization you are with. Thank you. Now let's welcome Chargé d'Affaires Minister Yang Xiaoguang to make the opening remarks.
Thank you for attending today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. At the moment, the two sessions, namely the fourth session of the 13th National People's Congress and the fourth session of the 13th National Committee of the Chinese Political Consultative Conference, are being held in China. These annual sessions are major political events in China. Deputies to the 13th NPC are deliberating on the draft decision of the National People's Congress on improving the electoral system of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Improving the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR and ensuring patriots governing Hong Kong is necessitated by the need to advance one country, two systems, and maintain long-term stability and security in the SAR. It is a constitutional power and responsibility of the NPC, and is constitutional, lawful, and justified. Hong Kong is a special administrative region of China. How to develop and improve its electoral system is purely China's internal affairs, which no foreign country has the right to interfere in. That being said, the decision has attracted many attention from the media. Some media organizations have called or emailed the embassy for inquiries. Some people have misunderstandings on the decision or try to hype up this issue. Therefore, the Chinese embassy decided to hold this event to brief the media on the decision. I would like to take this opportunity to set the record straight for three questions. First, why does China choose to propose the plan of improving the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR at this time? Over the past 24 years since Hong Kong's return, the Chinese government has all along fully and faithfully implemented the policies of one country, two systems, Hong Kong people governing Hong Kong, and a high degree of autonomy. We have run Hong Kong affairs in accordance with the law, upheld the constitutional order in Hong Kong as established by the Constitution of China and the basic law of the Hong Kong SAR, supported the development and democracy in Hong Kong, and guaranteed the exercise of democratic rights by Hong Kong residents in accordance with the law. However, in recent years, especially after the turbulence over the proposed amendment bill in 2019, anti-China, destabilizing forces, and radical localists in Hong Kong have openly clamored for Hong Kong independence. They use the election platforms of the Hong Kong and the deliberation platforms of the Legislative Council and the District Councils, or their position as public servants, to blatantly carry out anti-China, destabilizing activities to paralyze the functioning of the Legislative Council and obstruct the law-based governance of the SAR government. Some foreign and external forces interfered in Hong Kong affairs and openly provided support for those anti-China destabilizing forces in Hong Kong. These moves and activities severely jeopardize the constitutional order and the rule of law in Hong Kong, posed a grave challenge to the authority of the Constitution, the Basic Law, and the law safeguarding national security in the Hong Kong SAR, put China's sovereignty, security, and development interests into serious jeopardy, and severely disrupted social stability of Hong Kong. These moves and activities reveal that the existing electoral system and mechanisms of the Hong Kong SAR have obvious loopholes and deficiencies, which were exploited by the anti-China destabilizing forces to seize the power of governance of the SAR. In light of such a situation, China must take necessary measures to improve the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR and remove existing institutional deficiencies and risks. This will ensure the governance of Hong Kong by Hong Kong people with patriots as the main body, safeguard law-based and effective governance in Hong Kong, keep the implementation of one country, two systems on the right track, and lay a solid foundation for sustained stability and prosperity in Hong Kong. Second, how will China improve the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR? Proper mechanisms and institutions will be adopted to fully reflect the implement of the principle of patriots governing Hong Kong, keep the power of governance firmly in the hands of the people who love China and love Hong Kong, and ensure Hong Kong's long-term stability and prosperity. In this process, China will follow 5 principles. First, China will continue to fully and accurately implement the policies of one country, two systems, Hong Kong people governing Hong Kong, and a high degree of autonomy. We will uphold and improve the system and institutions of one country, two systems. We will ensure that patriots are the main body to govern Hong Kong. We will adhere to the principle of one country with respect for the differences of two systems. And we will uphold the overall jurisdiction of the central authorities over the SAR, and at the same time, safeguard a high degree of autonomy in the SAR. This will provide a sound systematic guarantee for patriots governing Hong Kong. Second, China will firmly safeguard its sovereignty, security, and development interests. To this end, we will fully implement the law safeguarding national security in Hong Kong, uphold the overall social stability of Hong Kong, and resolutely prevent, stop, and punish interference in Hong Kong affairs by foreign and external forces and the attempts to use Hong Kong for acts of secession, subversion, infiltration, and sabotage. Third, China will govern Hong Kong in accordance with the law. We will uphold the institutional order of the Hong Kong SAR as established in the Constitution and the Basic Law. We will improve the relevant electoral system and mechanisms in accordance with the Constitution and the Basic Law. We will organize relevant elections in strict compliance with the Basic Law, the law on safeguarding national security in Hong Kong, relevant decisions of the NPC and its standing committee, and local laws of Hong Kong. And we will improve the ability and competence of law-based governance of Hong Kong affairs. Fourth, China will improve the electoral system in accordance with the actual conditions in Hong Kong. We will develop a democratic electoral system that suits Hong Kong's conditions and reflects the overall interests of the society. And we will ensure the extensive and balanced political participation of Hong Kong compatriots in accordance with the law. Fifth, the governance efficacy of the Hong Kong SAR will be improved to ensure the smooth and effective operation of the political and governance systems and mechanisms of the Hong Kong SAR. Finally, what will be the specific steps to improve the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR? The existing electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR was established in accordance with the relevant provisions and Annex 1 and 2 to the Basic Law, explanations and decisions of the MPC Standing Committee, and relevant provisions of local laws of the SAR. China plans to revise and improve the electoral system of the Hong Kong SAR at the state level, and mainly to revise the method for the selection of the chief executive and the method for the formation of the Legislative Council of the Hong Kong SAR. At the same time, in order to maintain the continuity and the stability of the relevant system of the Hong Kong SAR, the revisions will be limited to Annex 1 and 2 to the Basic Law and will not revise the main body of the law. The overall design of the system will be centered around the reformation and greater empowerment of the Election Committee of the Hong Kong SAR. The size, composition, and formation method of the Election Committee will be adjusted and improved. The Chief Executive will continue to be elected by the Election Committee. The Election Committee will be entrusted with the new function of electing a relatively large share of Legislative Council members and directly participating in the nomination of all candidates of the Legislative Council. Through the Election Committee, the balanced and orderly political participation will be expanded and broader representation will be ensured in Hong Kong society. The relevant factors of the election will be adjusted as appropriate, and the mechanism for qualification review throughout the entire process will be established. This design is aimed to establish a new democratic electoral system suited to Hong Kong's realities and with Hong Kong characteristics. A two-step approach has been proposed, namely decision plus amendment. In the first step, the MPC makes the decision on improving the electoral system of Hong Kong in accordance with the Constitution, the Basic Law, and the law on safeguarding national security in Hong Kong, which lays out the basic principles and core elements of the revisions. Meanwhile, the National People's Congress authorizes its Standing Committee to amend Annex 1 and 2 to the Basic Law. In the second step, the MPC Standing Committee, in accordance with the law, amends Annex 1 and 2, which will contain specific and explicit provisions on the new democratic electoral system. After the amendment to Annex 1 and 2 at the state level is completed, the Hong Kong SAR will amend local laws accordingly. As President Xi Jinping points out, Hong Kong's major shift from chaos to stability once again proves that to ensure the steady practice of one country, two systems in Hong Kong SAR, in the long run, we must always uphold the principle of patriots governing Hong Kong. Only when this principle is upheld can the central authorities' overall jurisdiction over the Hong Kong SAR be effectively implemented. The constitutional order as established by the Constitution and the Basic Law be effectively safeguarded, and the various deep-seated problems be effectively resolved. Only in this way can Hong Kong achieve durable stability. I want to emphasize that over the past 24 years, since Hong Kong's return, China has remained committed to one country, two systems, implementing the law on safeguarding national security in Hong Kong and improving the electoral system of the SAR, both aimed at upholding and improving one country, two systems, and ensuring lasting stability and prosperity of Hong Kong. China remains unwavering in its resolve to fully and accurately implement one country, two systems, to safeguard its sovereignty, security, and development interests, and oppose any external interference. We hope that the relevant countries will understand China's position on Hong Kong-related issues, respect China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, recognize the fact that Hong Kong affairs are purely China's internal affair, refrain from interfering in Hong Kong affairs in any form, and do more that is conducive to the long-term stability of Hong Kong. Thank you. Now I'm ready to take questions.